like a knife hand over the back of his neck. I do this. And if there's no room, I stab it through. And then I make a fist. And I place it on the back of his neck. And then, let me just stretch a second. The choke occurs in my nutcracker. This is my nuts. I'm the squirrel.
Oh, okay. Those nuts.
Not those nuts. You see where your mind goes?
You were talking about kicking butt. You're still going that route.
Yep, and you can't get it out of your head. You should be on some list.
What was the question?
So when in life do you realize you're not the main character, you're the side character? And you're going to inevitably
I mean, that's a big
be
question,
murdered
right?
with the chainsaw?
I don't know. I think in your own world, you're always the main character.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm always the main character of what I'm trying to achieve. But in the big picture, you need a ton of people around you. Mm-hmm. And by that, I guess, scale, you're always an extra in somebody else's story. Mm-hmm. I don't want to be an extra in my own story, because otherwise what am I trying to achieve? Mm-hmm. But understanding that you're the main character in your own story, but you need people in your life. You need people to support, people to help, people to guide you, show you the way, whatever it is you're trying to achieve. No one ever gets anywhere, I don't believe, on their own. This whole self-made stuff and all this kind of thing, it's kind of like, but you must have learned stuff from somewhere. You weren't just born with all these skills that get you to where you want to be. Some people are a bit more self-made than others, whether it's from a financial point of view, careers point of view. Did you see the Snoop Dogg acceptance thing that he did on social media the other day? Yeah. So Snoop Dogg I don't know what he's just turned 50, right? Mm-hmm. So he does this kind of acceptance, and he basically, you have to watch it, thanks himself for everything in a kind of a thing. But he's like, I want to thank me for doing all the hard work. I want to thank me for putting all the hours in. I want to thank me for doing all this stuff. And you're like, that's so fucking cool. Because, yes, he's had an awful lot of help along the way, but the guy's 50 years old, legend, done so many things in his career. You don't get to that age without having put a ton of the hard work in yourself. So whilst we've been guided, whilst we've been helped, whilst we've had, mentors, coaches, all these people that has helped us along the way, we've gone down this route of, having to give off so much gratitude to everybody that's got us there, and don't forget the people that have helped you along the way and all this sort of stuff. And I do agree and believe in that, but the bottom line is I was the one that still chose to do all the work. I chose to listen. I chose to try and take the lessons. I chose to try and get better. I turned up to class, or I turned up to work every day. I should take a little bit of that for myself, right? That's on me. That's me being the hero of my own story. I've got choices, but luckily I had people around me. And in someone else's story, I'm the extra. I'm the one that's maybe in the background, giving off advice, whether it's good or not, helping, being the support person, being whatever that person or that group or whoever it is needs, right? Whilst you're the head coach of an owner of SBG SoCal, are you're probably in some ways the extra.
Oh yeah,
so everyone that's on the mat. It's the opposite way round. Although by default you're the owner of everything, it's all you. SBG SoCal is all you. But everyone that comes in here sees you as this sounds awful, but you're the vehicle to help everybody else improve, right? Yeah. So in that way you're the extra.
I feel,
but in your world you're the lead character, because you have to be.
Yeah, I feel like when it came to being like the lead character and really focusing on myself was all the way up until the point I got my black belt. At least when it comes to training. Yeah. And then once I got my black belt, I was like, okay, let's focus on everyone else as much as I can. Where before I was focusing on everybody else, but a lot of times I'm like, okay, how can I do this better? And level of intensity for either way has shifted. So now it's more about you guys, right? Like the students here. I think a good example of when you realize you're the side character, or the not the main character, is when you're lined up for stripes and your coach gives this guy a stripe that lady a stripe, and just kind of keeps going, and you're like,
what about me? Did I do something wrong? Like, I've been training. Right? What have I missed?
And then coach says, remember guys, when it's not our time to get a stripe, don't be upset, because when our partners get better, we get better. And then you're like, you mother.
I think we're all like, I guess without getting too deep, it's a good analogy actually using the movie, lead character stroke. Extras maybe not the right word, it's more the supporting cast.
Yeah. Either you're Frodo or Samwise Gamgee.
You're either you got, I mean,
Han Solo or
even the enemy, right? I mean, we have I like to think I've not got any enemies nowadays, but there are things throughout time where, like you say, you've got the supporting cast, you're the lead character of your life, but you've also got enemies, and enemies might not be an individual person, they're just roadblocks, they're things that are getting in your way. These are the things that I've got to get through or beyond.
COVID.
So the analogy is actually a good one. You lost me for a few seconds. I was a bit like, fucking movies.
I don't get deep.
But I do love movies, and when you started, when you got me thinking on it, I'm like, okay, yeah, actually there's a ton of analogies there. And at any given time, you can be any one of those characters. So I'm sure I've been the enemy at some point to somebody. In somebody's story, I've been the enemy. In someone else's story, I'm the hero. In someone else's story, I'm an extra, or maybe not even in the movie. Maybe I didn't even get the part. So it's interesting. But I think the most important part as an individual for me is that I'm always. Hero's a strong word, but I'm trying to play the hero because the people around me need me to be that. If I'm not that, who is? Right. And then who's my hero? Who am I? Who do I look up to? Who do I see as that guiding, I guess, kind of light? And now I'm a little bit older. I definitely don't have as many of those. I have people that I look to definitely for advice. Yeah. But the hero thing, I think that pinnacle person that you massively look up to, kind of that drops off a little bit as you age, because you become the age of those people you used to look up to. Yeah.
Also, I think there's once you reach a level of success, you stop looking so much as people like putting them on a pedestal, and you start looking at them as like, oh, hey, I've kind of been there, or maybe they're just a little bit ahead of me in some points, or you start looking for advice rather than like idolizing people.
Exactly. Yeah. Idolizing. That's the perfect word. You idolize people when you're younger, because the gap between you and what they're doing seems so big, and it's also you're still trying to find your own path, right? You're still trying to find what you want to be, and you're looking at people and how they do things to go, I want to be like that, or I want to be like that. Now I look at people that are way more successful than me, but I don't look at them with any kind of, I guess, envy or idolization of these people. Maybe a few athletes, but I still, I'm like, wow, that's such and such. Obviously it's nice to get that still. Yeah. But by and large, I look at peers within my industry and things like that. They're way more successful than me, but they're also just a human being doing their thing. And as much as I might appreciate what they do and as good as they are, I don't idolize them. I don't want to be them.
More admiration.
I don't want to be the same as them anymore. I've done my in your youth and your early days. You tend to while you're trying to make it, you tend to mimic a little bit, copy, try and you're finding your path. I'm 47 years old. I'm not trying to copy anyone anymore. I don't really give a fuck. To kind of try and emulate somebody else. I'm me.
I'm not 47, but I'm kind of at that point where
No, I maybe got to that point sooner than this, but definitely now. What people I talk to, most people that are super successful in my industry are all younger than me anyway. They did things. Their path was different to me. There's ways in which you can get very successful, and then maybe 30 odd years old. But again, I listen to a lot of stuff that goes on, and I'm kind of like, okay, you're doing really, really well right now, and you're where you are. Things will be done different again in 10 more years. Whether you'll still be where you are now, or you'll transcend, you'll go even further, or no one will be talking about you. Who knows? Yeah. But you'll focus on where you are right now and what you're doing right now. Over again, continuing to emulate other people. I want to be like that. I want to be known for this. I want to do this. It's like just once you've got a semi-decent level of ownership of yourself, just keep running with that at that point. Yeah.
Be a good hero of your own story. We got real deep at the end there. We started with pizza and Taco Bell.
But I've got no problem being the sidekick as well. It's like there's times with certain people where you make a better sidekick than you make hero. It just depends on the circumstances. there's some people I bounce with where I'm like, you know what, I'm happy for you to leave. You know, because I know where my value comes in. You lead. If there's other scenarios where I'm like, look, I'll lead you, you support.
Yeah,
it's what it is. I think, you know, relationships are all about a little bit of give and take. Well, yeah, we did get fucking deep. I don't know how that went from like fighting Michael Myers and what would I do to life analogy, but here we are. That's what we do. Yeah.
And that's why cops tend to be fascists. The entire art is keeping my head out of the fight and leading with my dick, which isn't always appropriate in the street and in the current cultural climate. So I'm over here and he's shrugged up and he's rocked up tight, but I have his head, I hold the bottle tight, I uncork it. Yeah, I think of it as, because of my age, the G.I. Joe, the real ones, the 1/6 scale, where you could fucking pull the arms and articulate them, so you're just pulling that fucking head off. It's not easy. Pop. Yeah.
I feel it.
Come here. Nothing I'd love to do more than pull your head from your body. Fucking arterial blood doing this. Of your last 5 beats.
Like Kill Bill.
Because he has a
It's
joke.
like an upward cut.
I didn't watch Kill Bill. I walked out of that shit.
Should have seen Kill Bill too.
Fuck that. The guy made 1.5 brilliant films. Pulp Fiction.
Reservoir Dogs.
That's the half. That's the other half. Although I didn't like the whole cruelty to cops thing at the time, it just seemed like excessive. But Jackie Brown was good. I forgot about Jackie.